Hello, Biology 100 students. This is your instructor, Greg Doheny, talking, and this video is meant to be a video that simply explains the mechanics of how to get started in the course. Once you get started in the course, you'll see that there are plenty of other video recorded lectures that you'll have to learn in order to learn the course content, but this particular video here is just to teach you how to get started and where you can get started for the course. All right, so the technicalities of the course. As I said, my name is Greg Doheny. That's me here. Some of you are new to Columbia College and have never taken any courses before, in which case I say welcome. Some of you may have had me for other courses, in which case I would say welcome back. My email is gdoheny@columbiacollege.ca, which is the only email that I can be contacted through. If you wish to contact me through email, please use your Columbia College email address and not some other email address such as Google, Gmail or Yahoo or anything like that, because that will accidentally, if you try to contact me with any other email address, it will probably be sent to my spam folder because I'll think it's somebody's trying to advertise something or sell me something. All right, so and check your Columbia College email regularly as well, because I frequently contact the class to make announcements and various things that I need to contact the class about. I frequently contact the class using spam email that's sent out to the whole class. So make sure that you check your Columbia College email every day, daily. You should get into the habit of doing that. Now I do have office hours for this course. The office hours are Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. and Monday from 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. Vancouver time. Now that sounds a little strange, but the office hour from 4 to 5 p.m. is meant to coincide with the time that the course is being held, and the 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. Time office hour is for students who live in other countries that are in a different time zone. So if you're in Central Europe or Africa or South Asia, 12 midnight Vancouver, maybe 12 noon for you, but that doesn't mean you can't contact me and talk to me live in real time. So we will be discussing how you can do that. Generally, if you want to have the office hours are held virtually, and they're held using a program called Microsoft Teams, which is sort of like Zoom. I don't know if some of you are familiar with Zoom, but Teams is a better version of Zoom because it affords more privacy, and only students at the college can use it. And so we'll be doing the office hours using Microsoft Teams. So my office hours will be 4 to 5 p.m. on Monday and 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Monday as well. Okay, now to get to the college website, as I'm sure you probably know, just simply go to the web address www.columbiacollege.ca and paste that into your web browser, the address window of your web browser, and then hit return, and it will take you to the site. All right, so I should mention at this point that this talk that I'm giving refers only to the lecture section or the theoretical section of the course. The course does have a lab section as well, and the lab section is run by Dr. Manjeet Kumari. There's Manjeet. Right? And so she will be contacting you with regards to what to do for the laboratory. The lecture section of the course, which I'll be teaching, is worth 75% of your grade for the course. The lab section of the course is worth 25% of your grade. You will have to complete a laboratory exercise every week, and you'll have to have a laboratory exercise exam at the end of the semester, usually in the 13th week. So just bear in mind that everything I'm about to say to you now is related to the lecture section of the course, not the lab section of the course. All right, so in order to do this course by remote, because we have COVID-19 restrictions still in place, we're not allowed to teach this course in the Columbia College building, the campus building. So we're doing this online. In order to deliver the course content online, you will have to use 3 different programs that are used for managing remote learning. One is called CAMS. Right? The CAMS program is simply for keeping track of your grades and your registration status with the college and so on. In order to get into the CAMS program, all you have to do is go to the Columbia College website, and then when you click on the home page, you'll see that there's a pull-down menu, and one of the options in that pull-down menu is simply says student login. The pull-down menu that says login, there's a spot that says student login. So if you just log in with your password, your username and your password, once you log in, you're actually in the CAMS program. So throughout the course during the semester, I'll be mentioning the CAMS program from time to time. That's all I'm referring to when I talk about the CAMS program. It just refers to the Columbia College website. So when you log into the Columbia College website, you are in the CAMS program. All right, the program that you'll be using most is called Moodle. Moodle is what they call a classroom management program, which is used to organize all of the reading materials and all of the lectures and all of the exams and quizzes and so on. It puts them all onto a single web page. So most of the time you'll be using the Moodle page for this course. So the course does have a home page on Moodle. If you go to that home page, it will tell you what to do every week, and it will provide you with links that you simply click on the link, and it will take you to a lecture or to some reading materials or to a quiz or even to the midterm or final exams. So that's the Moodle program. The Microsoft Teams program, as I said, is really only used for the office hours when you want to communicate with me. So during the office hours, you can turn on the Microsoft Teams program. I have sent you an attachment that tells you how to get and use the Microsoft Teams program, whether you're putting it onto your computer or your iPhone. You should have a computer. A laptop computer is preferable. If you don't have one, the college has a loan program which you can use to borrow money from the college to buy a laptop, but it is much more efficient to learn remotely if you have a computer, a laptop computer, than if you're trying to use your telephone. In fact, I would strongly discourage you from using your telephone to try and access the course materials, because the screen isn't big enough to really read anything. And it's not laptop computer is much more flexible as to what you can do. So I know there's some students who don't have computers. I strongly recommend that you get a computer, and Columbia College will actually loan you the money to do so, because it's much more efficient to learn if you're using a computer than a simple phone. Okay, so the Microsoft Teams, however, does have, you do have the ability of just importing it as an app for your phone or for your computer. I recommend installing it on your computer, but you can have it on your phone as well. All right. So if you go to the Columbia College webpage, it looks like this. And as you can see, there's a pull-down menu on the top right-hand side of the page that says Login. If you pull down that menu, there's a space where you can log into your email. There's a space where you can log into your student portal. If you log into your student portal, you will be in the CAMS program, and that will tell you which courses you're registered in. It will tell you your marks for each of those courses. Now, don't be confused by the Moodle page, which has marks as well, but those are not actually the marks that that the computer will use to calculate your final grade at the end of the semester. So at the end of the semester, your grades will be tallied from the CAMS program on your student portal. So that's the place where you should go to check what your marks are for each of the tests and quizzes and exercises that I'll be giving you for this course. Okay, so you log into your student portal, you're in CAMS. On the other hand, if you log into the Moodle portal, then you will be on the Moodle page, and then you'll see a list of courses that you're currently registered in. And if you click on Biology 100, that will take you to the Moodle page, the lecture section. It will take you to the Moodle page for the lecture. You'll see that there's a separate link on the Moodle page for the lab. If you click on that link, it will take you to the lab page. So this is what you will see if you click on the student portal login. You see that it asks you to enter your username, and then you enter your password, and then make sure that it's set to send you into the summer 2021 semester. Okay, on the other hand, if you click on the Moodle login page, it will give you this to log into. All right, so you enter your username and your password. You can click it to remember your username so you don't have to log in every time. And then if you log in from there, it will take you to a home page which is called your dashboard. Right, so your dashboard on Moodle will look something like this, and then somewhere on your Moodle page, you'll see the link for this course. So this particular link is it's the lecture section of Biology 100. You'll see that there's another one that's called the lab section. So that Moodle page is managed by Dr. Kumari. Right, so you'll have to deal with her for the lab, and you'll deal with me for the lecture. If you click on the Biology 100 link on your Moodle page, it will take you to a home page that has this picture on it. This picture is a drawing of the human body that was done by Leonardo da Vinci, who of course was a famous Renaissance Italian who was one of the first people to study human biology in any detail. They say that Leonardo da Vinci used himself as the model for this particular drawing. That's a rumor, but I suppose he probably would have looked like that in his youth. He certainly didn't look like that in his old age. So you click onto the home page for Biology 100, and then you simply scroll downwards on that page and start reading. It will tell you everything that you need to know about how to navigate your way through this course. So you simply scroll down and start reading the text, and you'll see that there is a week blocked off for every week for 14 weeks. The first 13 weeks contain lectures and reading materials and a textbook and so on, and week 14 is for the final exam. All right, so for instance, here's one of the weeks, and it shows you a list of things to do where it says what to do this week. It tells you what you're going to be studying this week, and then it gives you a list of things to do this week. And you notice that there's some blue text here. The blue texts are actually links to educational resources. In this case, the two links where it says Lecture 6 Part 1 and Lecture 6 Part 2 are links to two videotaped lectures that I've recorded. So you simply listen to those lectures on that particular week, week 4 in this case, and you listen to the lectures as many times as you want, or as often as you want. That's something you can't actually do if the class was live. So it's kind of fortunate, it's better in that way. But on the other hand, watching videos on the internet is not quite as engaging as having an actual lecture where I might ask you, I might point to you and ask you a question. That kind of tends to keep you more engaged than you otherwise would be. If you're watching on the computer, watching a pre-recorded lecture, you kind of get a little bit sleepy. I know I do, because I kind of think subconsciously, I think that I'm watching television or something like that, and I don't really pay much attention when I'm watching television. I daydream a lot. But you have to be careful not to fall into that habit when you're watching the videos for your course, because they're very important. But if you miss something, you can always go back. Okay. So as I mentioned, the blue texts are links. So the links up top here say Lecture 6 Part 2, for instance. You also have the option of looking at what the lectures are, by the way, is they are what are called voiceover PowerPoint slide presentations. So I show you a set of slides, and I narrate them. I narrate the slideshow, so it's called a voiceover PowerPoint. If you don't want to listen to the narration, if you just want to see the material that is written on the slides, you can click on these other links that will take you to a PDF of just the slides, just the PowerPoint slides. Now that's important because most of the questions on my exams come from the lecture itself. So I have a textbook here. You can read the textbook. The textbook is free to either read online or to download it to your computer. It is there's a link to it on the Moodle website, and it will take you to the textbook, and you can read it. It's reading the chapters that I assign for each topic are recommended but not required, simply because of the fact that most of the exam questions and the quiz questions that I will be asking you are taken from the lecture and the lecture slideshow, not necessarily from the chapter in the textbook. So I advise you to concentrate heavily on the lectures And then if you still don't understand, or if you want to know more, or if you want to learn the same information worded in a different way, then I would recommend you read the chapter in the textbook. But as I said, if you're worried about doing well on the exams, concentrate on learning the material in the lecture slideshow. Okay, now if you click on this link, it will take you to a videotaped voiceover PowerPoint lecture. And it will look something like this. Now these lectures are stored on YouTube, and so if you double click on this, it will actually take you to the YouTube website where the lecture is, and you actually get a larger picture with more features that you can adjust if you go to the YouTube page itself. So I advise you to double click on that link, and it will take you to the YouTube page that contains that lecture. So the YouTube page for that lecture is actually larger, and it gives you some features that you can adjust. For example, I want to draw your attention to this little pinwheel here is what you can use to adjust the speed of the lecture and so on. And more importantly, down here where you have dots, you see these 3 dots. 3 dots usually means there's more stuff here than you can see. If you click on those 3 dots, another menu will open up that allows you to open something called the transcript. So if you turn on the transcript, it will actually give you a written translation of what I'm saying. So that's very important, because if I'm speaking too fast, which I often do, if I'm speaking too fast or if you're having trouble understanding me, you can always read the text instead of trying to figure out what I'm saying by listening to me say it. Okay, so this is what the YouTube movie looks like if you've turned on the transcript on, right? So I'm speaking, and the YouTube is very generously providing a simultaneous translation of every word I say. So for some people that may be easier to understand than just listening. You can listen, or you can read, or both. All right, now, as I said, if you scroll down on the web page, on the Moodle page for the course, you'll see these things for every week where it tells you what to do. Here's another link that says Quiz 3. So we will be doing a weekly quiz every week, and I'll tell you more about that briefly. But shortly. But the quizzes are on Thursdays. Every Thursday from 4 to 4:30 we will have a quiz that takes half an hour, and it's worth 1 mark. It usually contains about 30 or 40 multiple choice questions. The questions are either multiple choice or short answer. Those quizzes are not worth very much, but I advise you to do them anyway because they're good practice. In fact, the more you practice taking quizzes, the better you'll be at taking quizzes. And so I recommend that you do as many of these, all 10 of these quizzes. We have one every week for 10 weeks, and they're worth 1% each. The more of the 1% quizzes that you do, I guarantee you, the better you will do on the actual midterm. We'll actually be doing something called a pre-midterm in week 5. So the pre-midterm is an exam that's just like the midterm, except that it's only half as long and it's only worth 5% of your grade. Then in week 7, we will be doing the actual midterm, which is 2 hours in length, and it's worth 20% of your grade. So it's worth a lot more. If you do all of the quizzes and you do the pre-midterm, you'll have lots of practice about what to expect on the actual midterm. And then the final exam is 3 hours long, and it's the same format as the midterm and as the pre-midterm. So if you've done the 10 quizzes, if you've done the pre-midterm and the midterm, you'll probably do better on the final, because you will have had lots of practice on how to take my exams. Right. So, and bear in mind that my exams, my quizzes, and my pre-midterms and so on are worth a total of 75% of your grade. The laboratory section of the course is worth 25%, and that includes a lab exam at the end of in week 13. Okay, so what do the quizzes look like? If you click on the link that says Quiz 3 or Quiz 1 or whichever one you're looking at, you'll see something like this that says the quiz. Notice that it says the quiz will not be available until Friday the 11th of September. This is obviously from a different year. Your quizzes will have different dates on them, but it says here in this particular one, it says the quiz opens on Friday, September 11th at 12, and then it closes the same day at 12:20. That means that if you click on Take the Quiz, this button, it will not open until the assigned time. So the quizzes are all there, but they're not available for you to take until the assigned day and time. So the day for us in this particular course will always be 4 to 4:30 on Thursdays. And then there will be some other days during the year when we do the midterm, or we have to, because of a holiday, we have to move the weekly quiz to a Monday instead of a Thursday. But there will be a quiz every week of some sort. As I said, during week 5, we're doing the so there's 10 quizzes, there's 13 weeks, and so what's happening in the other weeks? Well, in the first week, we don't have a quiz, and then in the 5th week, instead of a quiz, we're doing the pre-midterm. And then in week 7, instead of a quiz, we're doing, well, we're not doing a quiz that week, but we're doing the actual midterm on the Monday because we only have an hour's time on Thursday, and the actual midterm will take 2 hours. So, but we're doing some kind of a test every week. I'm a firm believer in the idea of testing students a lot, because learning things is not just a matter of it's not just a matter of memorizing things. You also have to be able to recall the knowledge that you've memorized. So you have to learn things by memorization, but you also have to have the ability to recall them, to bring them back out of your memory, and to actually use them, to apply them to a certain situation. So in order to do that, we have to both memorize things, and we have to test you on what you've learned frequently. And the more frequently we do that, you should review what you learned last week and the week before frequently, because if you review those things frequently, eventually you'll know them and you won't have to review them at all, and that's the whole idea. By the way, I would give you a piece of advice for this course. Learning biology, if you've never studied biology before, learning biology is in first year and second year is a lot like learning another language. Many of you don't have English as a first language. You might have learned English as a second language. And so if you've learned another language systematically in school, then you know how to do this. You write out lists of words that you don't know the meanings of, and then you learn the meaning of each word, and then you close your eyes and you see if you can, in your mind's eye, if you can reproduce that list of words and what each one of them means. If you write down 10 new words and then you close your eyes and you can recall 8 of them and what they mean, and there's 2 that you missed, then you open your eyes and you erase the 8 that you got correct, and you add the 2 words that you got wrong to the next list of 10, and then you start again and try and memorize those. It's a lot like memorizing. It's a lot like learning words from a new language. Biology as a science is not like that. But you know, if you went to university to get a PhD in French, the French language, for instance, you would probably be learning how to speak French and learning French words in the first year French course. Once you get to the level of doing your PhD thesis, you're no longer learning words. You're studying French literature, or you're studying French history or something like that, and you're critiquing French literature. And after the first or second year, you're no longer learning new words. Learning new words is not very fascinating. It's not very exciting, but it's what you have to do in order to get to the exciting part. Right? So this is exactly the same. You have to learn a bunch of words to do biology, and once you've learned all the definitions of all these words, then you can actually do biology, which is very exciting and very interesting. But in the beginning, you're doing these somewhat boring things where you're introduced to a lot of new concepts. You don't delve into them in any great detail, but you're learning new concepts, and it's boring for a while, but once you learn them, it's actually very exciting once you start using them. Okay, so that's my advice on how to learn biology. Is you're going to start out pretending that you're learning a new language, which you are. Every week we're going to test you on how much you've learned, how much you can remember, and how much you can recall. So you take these quizzes. What does a quiz look like? Well, it gives you a bunch of these multiple choice questions. Some of the questions are short answer questions where I ask you, what word do you use to describe this? And then you give me the word. Now you notice here that I have marked, the question is, what type of microscope image is this? Right? And then I've clicked on confocal laser scanning image. That's a type of microscope. I wrote this question, so I happen to know that that's the wrong answer. So after 20 minutes, the quiz will close, and the next day you can view how you did on the quiz, and you can review which answers you got correct and which answers were incorrect. So the next day you go back and you look at your quiz and you'll see this. You'll see that I marked confocal laser scanning microscopy image, and that's incorrect. And down here, the correct answer is scanning electron microscopy, SEM. Right? I said confocal laser scanning. It's actually scanning electron microscopy image. So then now I can learn the correct answers to all of those questions. And some of those questions may reappear on the final exam or on the midterm exam. So it's in my best interest to check what the correct answer actually is. Now I should warn you that we do these quizzes on Thursdays, and then the quiz will disappear the following Wednesday. So it will not be available for you to review indefinitely. It will only be available for you to review for a week, and then it will disappear. And the reason for that is because we can't, obviously when you're writing the midterm exam, we can't have you have a source of information where you can just go and look up the answer. So that's one of the reasons why the quizzes disappear after a week. So just remember to check your answers and make sure they're right. All right, so each week we will cover a different subject about human biology. So each week that means we will watch 1 or 2 lectures. You can watch them anytime you want or as many times as you want. That is mandatory, not optional. Then if you don't want to listen to all that narration, you can simply read the text that is on the slides. So I give you a link that allows you to look at gives you a PDF file that shows you the slides, so you can just look at the text on the slides. That is optional. It's up to you. Optional means it's up to you. I give you a reading assignment. Again, that's optional. And then I give you a document that's called Vocabulary and Practice Problems. There's a link to it on the website, the Moodle page when you get there. You look at the vocabulary and practice problems, you'll see that I assigned you some practice problems for each chapter. Again, those are optional. There's also a section at the end of each chapter called the vocabulary section, which, as if we were learning a foreign language, which will tell you the definition of each word, right? So I've assigned you some vocabulary to learn. That is not optional. You do have to learn those vocabularies, and those are most of the questions on the exams will be related to your understanding of what the words mean, right? So what is this? What is that? Learn the vocabulary. Okay, you can attend the office hours and talk to me directly using Microsoft Teams on Monday. That's optional. It is not required. On Tuesdays, which is the day for the lab, you must do the lab exercise with Dr. Kumari. That's not optional. It's required. It's mandatory. And then on Thursday, you must do the online quiz from 4 to 4:30. So you simply log into the Moodle page, and then there's a blue link that says quiz number 3 or something like that. You click on that link and it will take you to the quiz itself. You click on begin quiz, and then a timer starts which will stop you from answering the questions after 20 minutes. Okay, and then if you still have questions, you'll notice that on the Moodle page there's a questions forum, which is sort of like an online blog where you can ask me questions and I will answer the questions for everybody to see, which is a good thing because other students may have had the same questions. So you can ask me written questions on the questions forum, and then I will answer those questions in public. The other students will be able to read your questions and I will answer those questions in public for the other students to see. But that is not required. That's optional. And if you don't want to ask me a question in public, you can email me at my email address. If you go to the office hours through the Microsoft Teams program, be aware that other students can see you, and other students can. It's a meeting where other students can see you and see what you're asking. If you don't want to do that, then you can send me the question through email. Also, when you get the Microsoft Teams program installed, you'll see that you can send me a chat request as well. And if I'm available, I can do just a one-on-one individual chat so other students can't hear what you're saying. So that is another possibility. Okay, so how does the grade break down for this course? Well, we have a weekly quiz every week for 10 in total, so that's 10% of your grade. The pre-midterm, which is during week 5, is 5% of your grade. The midterm is in week 7, that's where 20% of your grade. And the final exam is on a date which has yet to be determined, and that will be worth 40% of your grade. And then, of course, Dr. Kumari's section will be worth 25% of your grade.